Hello YouTube, I'm spiderjackangel with Epic Horror Fans special follow-up review to the television series The Originals. Now, the reason why I'm going to do a follow-up review to this series is when I originally reviewed it, I only talked about the first episode. I basically told what I liked about the first episode, and I said, I might come back and review future episodes. But however, I did not, because I originally did not watch the first season in its entirety until I got the first season on Blu-ray. So without further ado, I'm going to continue off with reviewing my opinion on the first season. Now, the first season of The Originals, I have to say, is a really good first season. Despite some slow moments here and there, I have to say they very much kept in with the tone of Klaus's character throughout the course of the first season. And just to give you a little bit of history, the character of Klaus was introduced during the end of the second season of the Vampire Diaries, and his character's backstory along with his family's backstory really didn't come into focus until the third season. And the third season really dove into depth with the originals, and basically when they first, came to Mystic Falls and everything like that, along to what led to Klaus and Rebecca being on the run, and all this stuff was all the information that you got in the third season of Vampire Diaries. Now, the question you may be asking is, are you able to watch the first season of the originals without necessarily having any history of what happened in the Vampire Diaries? Yes, you can, because the fact that the originals actually does give you a little bit backstory with Klaus and Elijah's character along with Rebecca, and it does actually do a pretty good job at giving you that backstory. And basically, the originals actually gives you a pretty good in-depth backstory. Now, to give you the basic plot of the first season, Klaus goes to New Orleans because he basically hears that this covenant of witches are going to basically plot against him, and then he finds out that these covenant of witches want him to rid Marcel out in New Orleans along with his vampires, because the fact that Marcel basically runs New Orleans, his vampires have been killing off witches left and right, and basically he has a secret weapon that he uses that, basically tells him if there's any magic being used. And Klaus basically at first doesn't agree to this, and he wouldn't even agree to it even with his own unborn child's life at stake. And what he basically comes to agree with is he wants to run New Orleans for himself, and basically is willing to take what is Marcel. Now, that pretty much is the setup through the first 10 episodes, I would say, of the originals. And then, basically, after Klaus takes over New Orleans, he basically gets a, feel what it's like being king, how he basically runs it versus Marcel. And I have to say, some of that is pretty funny, because if you know Klaus's character, you know that he doesn't like being told what to do. You know what he does if he's, being told what to do. He basically kills the individual. And as the series goes on, Klaus does have to deal with a covenant of witches rising from the dead. And also he has to deal with Marcel rebelling against him. And, I have to say the originals really does a good job at basically remaining dark while also remaining a little bit light tone like the Vampire Diaries. It has that very good balance to it, where times it could go really dark and then other times it could be really, kind of lighthearted. I have to say they do a really good job with all the characters on the show. I would say that the witch storyline does seem to drag here and there, but however, I don't think it necessarily slows down the pace of the show. I do have to say the finale in season 1 is really good. I was pretty much on the edge of my seat watching the finale. There were certain things that I was surprised to see happen, and then there's other stuff that I didn't, necessarily surprised to see happen. And with the way that season 1 ends, I really can't wait to see season 2, because season 1, to me, I would give it a solid 9 out of 10. It was really a good season and a really good spinoff, and I'm really glad that this got picked up for another season. And, I'm really interested to see what they might bring to the second season. I know that they're going to be bringing more originals that are rising up from the dead due to what happened at the end of the, season 5 of the Vampire Diaries. Really interested to see if Marcel may try to rebel against Klaus again. And I'm really interested to see, what Haley's character is going to be like in the second season. So overall, 9.5 out of 10. Definitely worth checking out. So yeah, that's my review of the original season 1. Thank y'all for watching. Subscribe to Epic Horror Fans, and see y'all later.